Happy summer. It's after July 4th, so I'm sure everyone's thinking back to school, right? Teachers are doing planning, getting excited about the new school year, teacher store stuff, all that good jive. But not for me. I am not planning to prepare anything for the old high school students. However, I do have two younger students to plan for. So today was my day to go to Panera, enjoy a nice hot mocha, and order my homeschool curriculum and plan for kindergarten and third grade. So one thing that I would recommend is doing this in multiple phases. I did start back in February, highlighting what I wanted for the different subject areas, whether it be English or math or science. And I thankfully had some good homeschool parents that kind of gave me some tips and tutelage on how to go about doing that, because it is overwhelming. There's a lot of different curriculums, a lot of different YouTube families out there that do different things, but you have to think about what's best for you and your family. And so I have my handy dandy notebook and iPad and this awesome book over here, which I'm sure that was great video footage. It's christianbook.com, and so you go through here and it has all the different companies that you could look into for curriculum and reading supplements, all of that. So it was very helpful, and so I would highly recommend christianbook.com and also Panera. I had a good hot mocha today. So that was phase one, getting things ready, ordering. It'll be here in about 1 or 2 weeks, and then I'll start going through it and making our plans moving forward and making room for all our school supplies. And once I put my order in for all our homeschool materials, it was amazing how quickly those books started rolling in, and so box after box after box. And I was very excited to open them up and to check out our materials and start looking through them, making plans for especially the first couple weeks of school. And so I'm going to show you now what kind of things that we ordered. I know for Maya, she's going into kindergarten, so we ordered all the same curriculum just to make everything a base level for her. And then for Dex, we ordered several different types of books and materials, different curriculum, different authors that I thought would help him the most, intrigue him the most for his third grade year. To start off, these are Dax's materials for his school year. He has English 3, which is actually the BJU Press curriculum that Unity Christian also uses for his grade level, and so he's going to be very familiar with these materials, these worksheets, and the lessons in the order that they're in, with phonics and grammar and of course writing. I also added in there writing with prayer. His social studies is going to be American Pioneers and Patriots. It's the second edition by Christian Liberty Press. And I like this because it got to some of the main points. It incorporates some biblical principles, and it also leaves room for us to go into further detail, further study. The stories are relatively short. If you see here, chapter 14, just a few pages, chapter 15. So we'll be talking about the early pioneers and colonies of the United States, and I hope to bring in some video to add to our study. And then in addition, for our travels, I ordered the State the Facts workbook, and it has little tidbits and factoids about each state. So as we travel through those, we'll pull this out and talk about them and go through their state bird, state song, all those goodies. And I also ordered a game that also goes along with the states, which I do not have setting out right now. Then as far as math, going back to the traditional Saxon math, and this is level 3 for third grade. This is actually the teacher edition, which is huge, relatively thick, and so it kind of goes through like almost word for word what you should say, examples to give, and how to start up each and every lesson. And then he has this as his workbook, and it has a few worksheets and lessons for every day. And we can add to that as well. There are some other items like clocks and things like that that I also had to purchase to go along with that curriculum and that math. And then the science we're also very excited about. It is astronomy, and it's an apologia. So once again, going along with biblical principles and what God has to say about astronomy and what the Bible tells us about astronomy. And wouldn't you know it, if you go to the first couple chapters, of course the first one is, what is astronomy? And it goes through, the stars, the night sky, astronomers, astronauts. And then, of course, lesson 2, which will be week 2, is on the sun. And we're hoping to be to this lesson, which is on the solar eclipse, page 37. We're hoping to be there by the solar eclipse on the 21st of August. So that's why we're kind of starting a little bit early. Also coming with a notebook journal where he can kind of journal his thoughts and add to his study and applying what he is learning. Okay, and then of course we went to Walmart and got some of the standard supplies. Like I mentioned earlier, Maya's curriculum is very standardized. I ordered her the kindergarten plethora of studies on what to learn for a 5-year-old. So she has her letters and sounds for K5, a phonics and writing booklet, numbers and skills for math, Think and Learn, which goes into shapes, graphs, interaction, and social skills. And then she also has a separate writing tablet for practicing her handwriting. And then there's a few books in here. I also had kept, whenever Dax was in kindergarten, preschool, I kept all of his little reader books. So we'll be using those and incorporating those throughout the year as well. And then for social studies, I threw in this little book, and it's also based on biblical principles, Little Pilgrims in God's World. It has an activity book, and then it also has a reader book, and goes through and teaches, good and bad, sort of some morals and social skills for a kindergartner. And so I'm excited about incorporating that. The lessons are relatively short once again, but it's just still giving reminders of how to behave.
A lot of folders. I got a lot of folders. And I got an eraser. I got some more Oreo cookies. Actually, and you got me a pencil sharpener. And I got some cookies. Me too. Thanks, Mommy.
You're welcome. First day of school.
It was good.
Yeah, what did you like about it?
So we played outside. We had some lunch inside, some snacks. It's fun.
Yeah, pretty easy first day. It wasn't really hard work, was it?
No.
Maya?
Not really.
Not really.
It was kind of a lot of coloring.
Okay, you had a lot of coloring. I get the questions a lot. How is homeschooling going? What are the kids thinking about it? What do I think about it? And so far, we've had some really good experiences. We are enjoying our time together. I get a lot of good hugs and snuggle time, which they love as well. And, there are moments where we get frustrated and we might butt heads a little bit, but then we got to remind ourselves that, you know, we're doing this for a good reason, and we take our kind of time out and then we come back to it. And so that's the flexibility of a homeschool schedule. You know, if you feel that, you know, they're being burned out, you can kind of work through it. And, you know, those learning moments are definitely present. We're seeing progress with Maya and Dax, and I do keep a lesson book, a grade book to look at what their progress is. And there are no state standards for the state of Illinois, which a lot of you may not know. Looking into that, the HSLDA is kind of like the legal defense organization that can keep track of things, or if you needed accountability or assistance, if there was ever any question as to what you're teaching in your home, they're there for that as well. But as far as like anything I have to submit, there isn't anything. So I'm trying to look at the standards, look at what third grade and kindergarten would expect, and make sure that they're staying on track with that. We start out every day at 8 o'clock, and we have a morning meeting, and you can see behind me I have like the days of the week, and then we look at the weather. One of them, you know, checks the weather, and then we also have our, you know, monthly calendar with specific dates indicated if we have a reward day coming up for their behavior, or if we have a trip coming up or trip planned. And you know, they usually sit right in this area. The second question I usually get is, do I miss the high school? And I do. I miss the people, I miss the kids in that age group, and so it's nice going back to football games, and I'm sure I'll come and visit in the spring at graduation for sure. So just keep watching, and we'll keep filling you in on what our life is like here in the RV.
Oh,